हाँ अब आई थिंक आ रही है. तो दिस इज व्हाट यू हैव टू गेट. तो व्हाट यू नीड इज, अब आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, यू नीड टू सी दैट जो अप्लाइड क्वेश्चंस है आपके, जो आपका किस तरह से इट इज बीन यूज्ड. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपको आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में पूछा गया है कि हाउ रेलेवेंट दिस थ्योरी इज इन टुडेस वर्ल्ड और इन टुडेस दिस पर्टिकुलर सिनेरियो, सो यू हैव टू राइट इन दैट वे. इसके लिए आपको प्रिपेयर होना है. वो आप प्रिपेयर कैसे होंगे, व्हेन यू विल डू लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. ठीक है. ओके, सो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक दैट आई हैव टेकन अप इज इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट को आपको थोड़ा सा करंट बेस करना पड़ेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट जो टॉपिक्स हैं वो है द लोकेशन ऑफ सम सेंटर्स, world crisis. I'll tell you exactly what are the topics which are there. The topics which are there are world economic development, measurement and problems, world resources and their distribution, energy crisis, world development, distribution of these energy crisis etc. There is no too much of detailed explanation is required. I have a prepared notes on that. I will get that uploaded. ठीक है. इसमें आपको ज्यादा टाइम नहीं वेस्ट करना है लिखने में. आपको वो टॉपिक्स लिखने हैं जो आपको ज्यादा समझने वाले हैं. अब इसमें क्या है, दिस इज वेरी वेरी जनरल है. एनर्जी क्राइसिस बहुत जनरल है. यू ऑलरेडी क्वेश्चन आ चुका है इसके ऊपर. So I have made a separate handwritten notes on that. I'll get that uploaded and you don't have to waste the time in writing down. आप देखिए उसको, पढ़िए. एनर्जी क्राइसिस का क्या क्या इश्यूज हो सकता है, क्या क्या डिटेल we can go through. अभी भी I will make you go through all of that. आपको लिखना नहीं है. World development distribution, what is that? World economic development is what is that? That how you are trying to develop the whole scenario, whole world, right? What are the major factors, indicators which are telling you the development has happened in particular country? Some countries are taking that parameter, but some other countries are not taking it as a valid parameter. Like we talked about GDP. GDP किसने बोला था? Who has talked about it? D.M. Smith. He has not considered the GDP as a real indicator of the development of the society because it is not talking about the social well-being. और हमने किसमें डिस्कस किया था? We discuss in the welfare geography. ये geography में हमने welfare geography का थॉट जब हम पढ़ रहे थे इसमें हमने डिस्कस किया. It's a part of a critical revolution. Then the another topic is your agriculture inputs and biodiversity. इसका भी I will give you the notes. So try to focus only on those points, only on those areas wherein आपको ज्यादा elaborate ना करना पड़े. आपको सिर्फ ये देखना है इसका ये डेटा है, ये this is a problem. So one by one I will discuss. So what do you understand by? अभी आज आपको कुछ नहीं लिखना है. The notes of everything will be provided to you. Okay. All right. तो पहले आप ये बताइए, what do you understand by world economic development? क्या है ये world economic development? What do you understand by this? What do you understand by world economic development? What is this word in fact and why it is so relevant in today's scenario? Interconnectedness between countries. Don't you think it's a part, it's one of a follow-up? It's just a part of it. So what do you understand? What is the literal meaning of world economic development? Community development together. Okay, next. Okay, trade and commerce. And okay, so he's saying, just let me see his comment. Increasing the economic outputs of the world and subsequent, she's talking about subsequent prosperity of the global population. Yes. Yes, and how do you gauge all of these? What is the criteria? One is GDP, your per capita income also we can say, matlab, GDP is another, then per capita income is another. So these are different parameters that we can see. So there are stages also of the world economic development. क्या stages हो सकती है? How much manufacturing you are doing? अब कोई country अब कैसे इसको gauge कर सकता है? Welcome Ishan. कैसे इसको गॉच कर सकता है? By understanding how much manufacturing is being done in that country. For example, all the countries which we have seen so far are developed countries. They are majorly very good in the manufacturing setup. And China, which was not, they have tried to build themselves as one of the leading manufacturers of the world with the time. Because they knew that if you are not having a manufacturing setup available in the world, then you won't be able to survive. Because maximum time you'll be depending upon the other countries for your imports. And the moment you depend upon your imports a lot, you will be in one of the most vulnerable situations, like we are in today's scenario. Aren't India is in the vulnerable situation? Yes, few days back you would have heard the statement of our Prime Minister, who was telling you to not to go to the foreign lands for the tourism purpose, etc., and not to buy goods. Why it was that? Because he did not want the reserves to get, yes, not to get overused, because he wanted to preserve them. क्यों इन्होंने ऐसा बोला? Because lot of our imports, we are doing lot of 80% of our dependency of the crude oil etc. is dependent upon our imports. Gold भी in fact हम import करते हैं. All of these are the items which we are importing. अगर हम import करेंगे कोई भी चीज को, definitely हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? We have to give the dollars, we have to give more and more dollars. उससे क्या होगा? हमारा reserves कम होगा. ठीक है? तो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट क्या मेन स्टेजेस है, आप सिर्फ समझना है, यू डोंट हैव टू राइट. मेन स्टेजेस क्या है आपके इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट की? ट्रेडिशनल इकोनॉमी एक है आपका. we'll talk about the traditional economy. What do you understand by traditional economy? For example, if I talk about the agriculture, agriculture is one of the most traditional economy, and India is banking on that. 60% of our population is still, 58% to be precise, is still working in the agriculture and allied activities. Rest of them are working in, 26% is working in the services, and rest of it is working in the manufacturing setup. So still we are so much dependent on the agriculture and allied activities. इसलिए बोला जाता है, that's why India is also known as the king of the tariffs. Who has said this king of the tariffs? Not Trump. Trump का vice president. Trump has not. JD Vance. He has said that they are known as the king of tariffs. Why? Because although we were quite criticizing the USA at that point of time, that you cannot let so much of 50% tariffs, what is that they have put, right? So you cannot put 25% only penalty rakha tha, because we were taking the crude oil from the Russia, and the rest of the 25% was done to all the countries. And these 50% reverse tariff that he has imposed on the different countries, this is what is known as, क्यों बोला गया? और हम कितना tariff impose कर रहे हैं agriculture sectors में? 60%. So why we are not being highlighted? So there is a point we are called as a king of tariffs, because we wanted to save our economy. From what? Because people who are totally dependent on the agriculture and allied activities, the markets will get exploded. Exploded in sense of what? अगर बाहर से आपका inputs आने लगे, अगर imports आने लगे, obviously at the same reasonable price, if you are getting one of the best qualities of the American products or the European products, definitely will go and switch to them rather than buying the Indian products. So people know it, economists know it very well. They have understood and researched market very well. So they know it is not possible in any way if we open the market and we let the European companies, European products to come in and flood our markets. So there is no way that the people who are dependent on it will be able to escape this. There will be a brunt that they have to bear because of all these factors. Although there is also quite of development which is going on. We have talked about the FTAs also recently. The deal has happened, 2 deals have happened with USA and also with Europe. If you have talked the mother of all these, ये सब आपको लिखना है इसमें. Please mention all of these. ये आपको आपका आंसर क्या बनाएगा और बेटर बनाएगा. मैं आपको आज व्यू पॉइंट दूंगी किसके, अदरवाइज आपको सिर्फ मैंने स्टैटिक क्वेश्चन आप लिख लेंगे, वो मैं आपको नोट्स भी दे दूंगी. पर अभी आपके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है ये समझना कि कैसे आपको आंसर को और बेटर बनाना है. बिकॉज जो आंसर पढ़ रहे हैं उनको ये पता लगना चाहिए कि यू आर ऑल्सो quite thorough with the things which are happening around you. आपका नयापन नहीं दिखेगा आंसर के अंदर, so they will be also not accepting that, and hence आपके मार्केट उसमें कम रहेंगे, and it reflects all of these things. ठीक है? तो yes, where was I? Yes, FT, mother of all these that has happened recently. So all of these you have to mention that we are doing it in quite a manner wherein we will not let our markets to get affected so much. ठीक है? अच्छा, उसके अलावा क्या आप बात कर सकते हैं? For example, so these are the status. This is the status of the country, and we are providing a lot of subsidies also on all of these. क्यों provide कर रहे हैं subsidies? अगर आप fertilizers की बात करें, we do provide subsidies. If you talk about the financial health assistance, we do provide it with the help of Kisan credit schemes. If you talk about the direct cash, we also give that to the farmers. And there is a lot of rebates also they are getting. There is also easy loans also they are getting through the lot of institution, rural financial banks. So all of these rural banks are available. NABARD is there. So we have the setup available, particularly in from the Indian context I'm talking about herein. So these things are there, right? Okay. So traditional economy की problem क्या है? Because देखिए traditional economy नहीं होगी तो भी problem है. Agriculture has to be there in any way. People are being feeded by only when you have the good agriculture productivity. ठीक है? So next we are talking about industrialization. This is the second step. What is that? Growth of the factories and manufacturing setup. Now if you see all of the developed countries, they are good in their manufacturing setup. Whether you talk about USA, whether you talk about Europe, whether you talk about Russia, all of them are quite good in the manufacturing setup. They have created China. China is booming. China is booming in the manufacturing of electric vehicles. In fact, China is one of the country which is also good in the production of the electric vehicles. It is also one of the highest consumers of the electric vehicles. So when the consumption is also done in the country and the production is also done in the country, so they are not reliant on anybody else. Dependency zero हो गई. आपकी dependency कब होती है? जब आपका या तो production setup बाहर हो या आपके consumers बाहर हो, तब आप थोड़ा सा डरेंगे कि okay, I don't have to do these changes, otherwise मेरा impact होगा sales. But यहाँ पे consumption भी वही है, production भी वही है. Therefore, if you remember in January, there was a news which came from China. China was saying that we will stop the supply of silver from now on. This is what they have said. बहुत ही बड़ा statement उन्होंने दिया था. क्यों? Because silver is used in the semiconductors. Silver is used in the electric vehicles. So when it is used in all of that, so they said that we will stop the export of it and we will not do it. Right? So this is one of the major statement which has come. So it is what? Because they knew they are not going to get impacted out of it. Okay? So next is your modern economy. Modern economy क्या आएगा? आपका services, all the services which you are providing, ID and AI related services you are providing. All of this is what? This is the hospitality comes in that, tourism comes in that. ये सब कुछ क्या है आपका? For example, if you talk about Dubai, Dubai is highly affected by all this war which is going in the Strait of Hormuz. Maximum revenue of the Dubai is either coming from the crude oil or it is coming from the tourism. Dubai has made itself in such a way that it attracts, it gets more of footfall. It gets more and more of tourists during all the seasons, especially near New Year or Diwali. They get lot of people coming in there, and it was considered so far the one of the most safest place in the world. अब तक ये माना जाता था before this thing has happened, bombing etc. At the airport. Before that, it was considered as one of the safest place in the world. But now see the scenario of that place. Nobody wants to go there. Airports are empty. So definitely it has affected and taken a toll on them, right? So what are the key driving economic factors? क्या key driving factors हो सकते हैं? इसके क्या lead करता है world economic development? Technology is one. Technology आपका major focus है. कि टेक्नोलॉजी अगर आपका प्रेजेंट है किसी भी कंट्री में, इन्वेस्टमेंट इन द टेक्नोलॉजी इज डन, द ट्रेनिंग ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर टेक्नोलॉजी इज डन, डेफिनेटली इट विल बी एक्सेप्टेड एंड दे विल यूज इट, राइट? एंड नेक्स्ट इज एजुकेशन. Education is also one of the most important factor. Then trade and globalization. What do you understand? What is the idea of the globalization? अब इसमें आप कुछ scholars का भी name use कर सकते हैं, who has said the world as a global village. World को क्या माना था उन्होंने? Global village माना था. Why? Because now they are seeing there is no difference. There is no a thin line which has lines are blurring between the countries. Why? Because people can migrate, people can go, they can mobilize. इसी में एक क्वेश्चन भी दिया था, if you remember, what is the difference between migration and mobilization? ठीक है, so people are going from one place to another, either they are doing the migration or either they are mobilizing. So in any of these ways, what it is affecting, and it is affecting it for the good also and for the bad also. What is a good thing which is happening over here? You are getting more and more resources. For example, yesterday also I was talking about Japan, highly affected by the what? Population demographic dividends. They are highly affected by that. जब उनका demographic distribution इतना ज़्यादा affected है, so they have to rely on more of human resource from the outside. हमने देखा होगा news आता है जापान से that they are asking for the people to come in and work there, and they are giving lot of demographic winter. What is that? What is this demographic winter? I think you should by mistake लिखा क्या? Okay, got it, done. Okay, so yes, true. So what is that? So people are getting more of what? Where was I again? Japan. So Japan, they have to. So human resource is one of the resource that is very important. And अगर आपने recent उनका news देखा होगा, so they are saying we are giving easy access in Japan. You can come and work here. There are a lot of facilities that have been provided to them. So Japan has become one of the hub for many people who are seeking for the good job opportunities there. And of course, the style, the work sense, the civic sense, everything is best over there. Right. So next thing which is mobilizing all of this is a political stability. This is one of the most important thing. अगर आपके पास political stability ही नहीं होगा country में, so do you think you will be equipped enough to work well in that country? No. क्यों नहीं होंगे आप equipped well? Why? Yes, government policies ही नहीं है. For example, if I tell you to open an industry in Sudan, will you invest there? No. If I tell you to open the industry in now Bangladesh, will you open there? No. Why you will not do investment in the Bangladesh? Because there is huge political instability over there. And for that, in the World Forum, in the World in WTO, World Trade Organization, we also have something major. What do you call it as? There are 5 things which are there na, I think in the World Bank Group they are there. World Bank Group में क्या है political instability के लिए? GS किसने पढ़ा है? Yes, online students. आप बताइए. Okay, I'll give you a hint. IMF. Okay, IMF is different. World Bank Group में क्या क्या आता है? Group I'm talking about. Okay, I'll give you more hint. IMF is different. That is your for the financial monetary, yes. For restructuring has to be done. जैसे श्रीलंका को दिया था, India has also sought help from them. But point is here, that what I'm asking is, अगर कोई भी instability होता है, तो what we go for? World Bank Group. What is coming in the World Bank Group? Please search that. No, there are different institutions under this. 5 institutions are there. There is a particular institution for the, if there are any political instability happening in some area, then they can be fixed. And next. Now read the fourth one. What is that? Multilateral. This is called MEGA. Multilaterals. Yes, multilateral investment guarantee agency. What do you mean by that? क्यों बनाया गया है ये? Yes, and it also protects the countries which are investing in the outside countries to protect them from the political instability. For example, somebody has invested in Africa or maybe Sudan, and they have a big setup over there. और वहाँ पे कोई rights हो जाते हैं या military civilian armed rebellions हो जाता है, तो what will happen? These industries can be protected, compensation can be given to them. Otherwise, nobody would like to invest in such countries. Yes, it's MEGA, right? So where you have to do what? अगर political ये सारे points आने चाहिए आपकी world economic development के answer के अंदर. It is not as plain as that. अगर plain answer लिखेंगे, you will not get the marks. So that is why I have not given you the traditional answer writing today. I want to discuss, I want to open your mind to different aspects of it. So MEGA, because अभी आपका नया भी कुछ आया होगा political instability को लेकर, there must more conventions would have been added to it apart from this. So what is this multilateral investment guarantee agency, which says that if you are investing in some other country and there is a political chances of the political instability in that country, then definitely if you are being if the investments get dismantled because of some reason, because there is a political instability over there, you will get the compensations for that. No, the company will get. Otherwise, nobody will invest, no? Not domestic. Yes. Okay. Okay. Next is infrastructure. Everything should be provided. अगर आप वहां पे इंडस्ट्री बना लेते हैं जहाँ पे ट्रांसपोर्ट ही सिस्टम नहीं है, क्या करेंगे आप? गुड्स को ट्रांसपोर्ट भी करना है ना, कैसे आप गुड्स को ट्रांसपोर्ट करेंगे? वहीं का वहीं रखा रहने देंगे तो क्या फायदा है आपका बनाने का? So you need the modes also to travel from one place to another place. So definitely you will need that medium. And for that medium, you will require a robust structure. For example, Dubai, particularly Saudi Arabia, they have the perfect system wherein the interconnectivity of the roads, okay, dedicated freight corridors in India, correct, dedicated freight, even Southeast Asia, Southeast countries, not so, Middle East countries, and apart from that, particularly Saudi Arabia and UAE have this thing that whenever the ships are coming over there, they have a very integrated system over there. It's connected, it's well connected, it's integrated system over there where once a good comes in, it can quickly go to the destination. So all of these structuring is what you have the good. It shows that you have a better supply chain management. Supply chain management is not one component. It is consisting of many components because it's not only from, you're not calculating it from one link only. सिर्फ रोड से नहीं होता, उससे भी होता है कि आपका कितना जल्दी आपका शिप हैज अराइव्ड ओवर देयर, हाउ स्मूथ इज द स्ट्रक्चर. अगर आपको बहुत ट्रैफिक मिलेगा उसके बाद तो क्या होगा, तब भी आपका फायदा नहीं है, बिकॉज द margins or the profit lies where? When you're doing this thing, the services very quickly, right? Supply demand. If the supply is coming soon and the supply is coming over there as per the demand, it's meeting that, then only you will be able to fulfill the requirements of all the people, and that's how you call it as the good supply chain management. Okay, so this point has to be taken care. Okay, इसके अंदर आप थोड़ा सा इकोनॉमिक का वो पार्ट भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. इंडिया के पर्सपेक्टिव में आई एम ओनली सीइंग दैट. Do you know about all these industrial phases which India has gone through? For example, the first year plan, second year plan I'm talking about. Just go through all of them. पहले आते थे questions, अब नहीं आते हैं, but you never know because it's a part of economic development and all. So they might ask, but you should know only for your understanding. ठीक है? ओके, क्या किस किस चीज में काम आता है आपका इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट? डेफिनेटली टू रिड्यूस द जॉब्स, टू रिड्यूस द obviously they are trying to better the infrastructure. Next, और किस चीज में काम आता है? Quality of life get better, more services. Next, economic development helps in other things. What other things are there? Increase national power and stability, right? When you talk about that, India has come out a position as fourth in the in the fourth, they have occupied or they have taken the fourth position in the world's largest economy. So what it shows then? क्या show करता है वो? And we are aiming to become third and second and first. How, what does it show? It shows the power, right? It shows that how big, how well developed, not developed. It shows that how much GDP you are producing. It shows that how much your production has been done in your country. Does it show that? How many of you satisfy? How many of you agreeing with that? कितने लोग agree करते हैं इस बात से? Why it is important for a country and what does it show? Economic development, okay, but it doesn't show that you are best in the manufacturing. It shows that yes, you are doing well. In a lot of aspects, in the economic aspects, you are doing fairly well from than the other countries. Okay. Okay, write down the question on this. Okay, write down. How does economic development differ from economic growth? How does economic development differ from economic growth? How does economic development differ from economic growth? Important conceptual question it is. Write down. Name or write down. Discuss the two important indicators of economic development. Discuss the two important indicators of economic development. Next point. Next question. Discuss the impact of globalization. Discuss the impact of globalization on the economic development. Discuss the impact of globalization on economic development. Right. Analyze the challenges. And ये बहुत important, ये आपका contemporary question है जैसे आ सकता है. Analyze the challenges facing economic development. Analyze the challenges facing economic development in the 21st century. Do one question. Do the only first question right now. What is the difference between economic development and economic growth? Do this question right now. The rest of the three are for your assignment. You can take the help of the Google if you're not getting it. Achha. Two minutes left. Okay, economic development or a overall enhancement of the economic prospects of any region. It is gauged over long term, which follows growth path from agri-based economy to industrialized economy, whereas economic growth could is year-on-year growth of economic parameters like GDP. Correct, rightly said. But this is the basic definition that you write, but you have to also add on the examples. If इसको ही लिखने से सिर्फ इतना explain करने से नहीं चलेगा. Although the starting is good, but I want it to be you have to elaborate as an answer, right? Hmm. But how it is a qualitative measurement? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yes, in some sense we can say. In some sense we can say it is talking about the overall growth. Quality of life is also included opportunities, which is a quality intangible. Correct. Hmm. And okay. Hmm. Okay. What else? Okay, done. So rest of the answer you can write later on because I've already given 7 minutes to you. Okay. So now next come to the next topic. What do you understand by the energy crisis? This is one of the major topic in these days. Energy crisis तो दिख ही रहा है आपको overall. What is happening? LPG, LNG, crude oil, everything is getting to a standstill because of one important thing which has happened, that is a blockage of Strait of Hormuz. Now tell me one thing, what is leading to? क्या हो रहा है इससे? Strait of Hormuz आपका block हो रहा है या फिर stagnant हो रहा है? It's not able to come here. The supply chain management is getting disrupted, or the goods are not able to transport from one area to another. What could be the leading consequences of it which is happening around? क्या क्या हो रहा है? Can you explain the situation to me so that we can understand the energy crisis in detail? How would you like to define it? Hmm. 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 Okay. So what real problem it is showing to us? Dependency, yes. The one problem which is showing, very major problem it is showing to us is the huge dependency of the countries on the imports. Heavy reliance on certain countries. That's why people are feeling that they have been now they're feeling that they could have pivot to other countries or maybe to other sources. Now this is what the idea is. Whenever you are in the market, whenever you are in a relationship in sense the diplomatic relationships between with the countries, you have to understand that ये सिर्फ diplomatic relations आपको इसलिए नहीं बनाए जाते हैं that we will putting our all eggs in one basket. It is done because we want to diversify the things. अब आप सोच रहे हैं of the diversification of the markets. Now you're thinking about that, but why not before? Now you're thinking of diversification of the markets, but you have not thought of it before. Why? We try to take actions once the things are done, but not before. अगर पहले किया होता, if you had taken this action before, then you will not have been facing the same problem. So diversification of the market is quite important. Energy crisis shows us that कि अगर आप diversify नहीं करेंगे, then you will be heavily dependent on something, and then it will lead to the supply chain disruption, right? These are the keywords that you have to add. In fact, there will be a supply chain disruption. What else? What else now? Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Dutch disease. Hmm. That is called Dutch disease. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yes. हाँ वो भी आपको यूज हो सकता है, बट नॉट इन दिस नहीं, नॉट रिलेटेड सेंस. ये एक मिसनॉमर है, ये लगता है डिजीज जैसा लग रहा है, बट एक्चुअली दिस कॉन्सेप्ट स्टार्टेड इन डच ओनली, wherein the government started putting and they started making only one sector. They started investing only one sector while making other sectors weak. अगर आपका एक सेक्टर अच्छा चल गया, that doesn't mean आप इसी पे ही इन्वेस्ट करते जाएंगे. So they did that. Or the concept started from here, and now it is used in the context of Venezuela. Venezuela also did the same mistake. Okay. So supply chain management, that is another disruption, that is another problem. What else you can learn from the today's scenarios or these days scenarios which is happening? Pivoting to other sources. What do you understand by pivoting to other sources? That means if our energies would have been pivoted to, although we are doing it quite a lot in that, we can't say that हम नहीं कर रहे हैं उसमें अच्छा काम. If I talk about for example, renewable sources of energy. So we have done, and in terms of the NDC, nationally determined contributions also, we were already 9 years ahead of our target. And when that is happening already, but point is the kind of a consumption that India is having is quite a lot. India, or you can talk about the world itself, it's quite a lot. But if you talk about which countries are topping this, so the one who tops the chart is USA and China. USA is one of the country which is consuming a lot of the energies, right? What else do you understand from this? What else you understand from the today's scenarios which is happening these days? Think more. Yes, online students. Would you like to add? Okay. So he's added increased production of electricity from the renewable energy and also from nuclear. Yes, renewable energy में ही आ जाएगा nuclear. It all from the all sorts of energy. All sources of energy will be there in this renewable sources के अंदर. Renewable इसी में ही आ जाएगा. Renewable के अंदर ही आ जाएगा nuclear. Then what next? Add. Do you think it is also affecting the economy of the world? Yes. Inflation, spike in the prices. It's also leading to inflation. Why? Because it's a supply-demand mismatch. And when there is a supply-demand mismatch, what will happen? Inflation will be there, and therefore, further the people have to face the real consequences. Because when the demand will be the supply will not be complete, obviously the demand is quite high, then the prices are about to rise, and this will also creating what? Black marketing. The black markets will get produced very instantly, because they will do what? They will try to store it as much as they can, so that the prices of the certain product should rise up. Although it is not allowed in India, but people still do it. What else? और क्या चेंजेस कर सकते हैं हम? और क्या मतलब प्रॉब्लम और क्या होता है? इन्फ्लेशन का प्रॉब्लम, देयर इज अ ह्यूज heavy reliance, is a diversification which should be done. Supply chain, already we have discussed lot many point. Anything which you feel that it should be added? Rises energy prices, increase in the economic inequality. Yes, you should use such word, economic inequality. The increase of economic inequality in these manners. Right? In such a manner, what will happen if the prices of certain commodity will rise high on a high in a way that it is not able to, when people are not able to buy and afford it, then definitely it will do what? Economic inequality will be there. Right? Can you club all of these and write an answer on this? Energy crisis. ठीक है, ये हमने सिर्फ जनरल पॉइंट लिखा है. अगर ये आपके आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बात होता है एनर्जी क्राइसिस का, तो इसे कैसे आप इसको एनहांस करेंगे? दिस इज जस्ट द मेजर points that we have written about the energy crisis, but how you will try to embellish the answer in a true manner. You have to write the data. You should know the distribution of the data. Distribution of what? The energy, from where the energy supply is coming. You should know the data of that. Global data also in respect to India also. You should know all of these, that which country is providing the maximum energy. For example, जैसे आपका सबसे गलत किया हुआ है किसने? जर्मनी ने. Germany is highly reliant on Russia for its energy supply. And when this Ukraine-Russia war was happening, so Russia threatened Germany only on this factor that we will stop your supplies in case you are going to take the side of Ukraine. If you remember, so what was happening, if I give you the example in the global context? So basically, Russia was having a Nord Stream 1. So this Nord Stream 1 get used to pass through Ukraine. I mean around Ukraine. And they used to transport it to Germany. All the gas supplies were used to pass through that. Later on, Ukraine started charging them. Charging who? Russia. When they started charging them, they thought, okay, now we need to figure out something else because Ukraine is already doing all of this. So now we need to figure out something else. And then they started the formation and manufacturing of Nord Stream 2. They started building Nord Stream 2 quickly. That was also a gas pipeline that they were forming. And now the access to the Ukraine got stopped. I mean, they did not have to take a route from near the Ukraine to pass their gas supplies to the Germany. They could easily do it from here. So now they had the two pipelines. One was the Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2. So point was that when this Ukraine and Russia was happening, so Russia has a very quite valid and strong point with them that they could threaten the European markets and also particularly Germany. Maximum supplies of the energy were coming from Russia. So in the global context, when such situation happens, then you have to think of some alternatives. Alternatives in the sense you cannot rely on somebody so much that you cannot take even the decision, independent decision. You're talking about the, otherwise what you have to do? You have to take a strategic decisions. आप independent decisions नहीं ले पाएंगे. और कभी-कभी ये ऐसा भी होता है फिर आप अपना sovereign decisions भी नहीं ले पाते हैं. Right? Sometimes such situation also arises when you cannot exercise your sovereignty also in the fullest manner when such situation arises. Because what will you do if the supplies are not coming? You have to either आपको stop करना पड़ेगा, or even if they will demand it from the US, तो US इनको किस प्राइस में देगा? काफी ज्यादा प्राइस में देगा. तो again inflation का problem. ठीक है. So all of these has to be done in a quiet manner कि आपका distributed हो कि ठीक है अगर एक ने आपको stop कर भी दिया then you have the other options available to you and then you can pivot. And that's why Germany is, if you see the reports, Germany is thinking about all of these things. So how we need to switch, how we need to change. And if you see, all these European countries are the one who are thinking of the renewable sources of energy. They are working quite tremendously. They're working quite rapidly on all these matters. आप जितना भी देखेंगे renewable energies के जितने भी आपके initiatives हैं, everything is coming from these countries. Why? Because they know reliance is not good for the long term and it can lead to the energy crisis like it's happening right now. War kiske beech mein hai? War is happening between other two countries and who is bearing the consequences? All the countries including South Asia, Southeast Asia, all the countries are facing the brunt. Whosoever is dependent on, because 80% of the food is passing to the Strait of Hormuz. When 80% is passing, can you imagine that how many countries would be dependent on that? And this can also lead to a lot of problems in sense, spike to hoga hi, prices to badhenge hi. What is that? World War II nostalgia. Yes, it is a kind of a World War II nostalgia only. And I don't know whether the situation will come, will normalize in coming times or not, in coming days or not. And how much time will it take to normalize? That is also something we need to definitely discuss and think about it. Because if it's not going to normalize very soon, then definitely we are going to have a lot of problem. I mean, we in sense that the world is going to have a problem, barring Iran, right? Did you understand? Right? Okay. So energy crisis is this. So why? What other things can lead to energy crisis? This is one I have told. Population growth can also cause energy crisis. How? See, Europeans and were very sorted in this way. They always talked about that the resources that you are having, you should have the population in that ratio only. हमेशा वो लोग sorted रहे हैं. They have never had any different kind of viewpoint on this. They were always sorted on this, that the amount of resources the country is having, the population should be there in that proportion. Otherwise क्या होगा फिर? It will try to do what? Yes, exploit तो होगा ही होगा. उसके अलावा क्या होगा? उसके अलावा क्या होगा? Increase competition, and there would be less resources left for, yes, increased tensions, less resources per head. And when there is less resources per head, then there will be a competition. उसके लिए क्या होता है फिर competition? Like we are having, India is having the maximum competitions. मुझे लग रहा है इंडिया तो survival of the fittest की मोड पर है. It's a survival of the fittest because you fight for everything. You have to fight for every small thing, big thing. India is fighting. Yes, the malnutrition. Yes, correct. So then what else? Political conflicts and disruption. These are the other factors. Political disruption भी आपका कर सकते हैं जो हो ही रहा है, international conflicts etc. Inefficient use and wastage of energy. That is also one of the other factor which can lead to the energy crisis. कुछ topics लिख लीजिए क्या क्या हो सकते हैं causes apart from this topic that we have discussed. लिखिए rapid population growth and increasing energy consumption. First point, rapid population growth and increasing energy consumption. Next, over dependence on fossil fuels such as coal, oil, over-dependence on fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas. Next, depletion of non-renewable energy resources. Next, higher fuel. Okay, next, not this. Write down inefficient investment in energy infrastructure. Inefficient investment in energy infrastructure. Okay, now you have to write the solutions for it. अगर ये आपका ये basic thing है, concerns, and so what would be the solution? Write down the solution. अच्छा, अगर एनर्जी क्राइसिस के इफेक्ट्स आएंगे ना, आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू, यू हैव टू राइट इन 3 पॉइंट्स. इकोनॉमिक इफेक्ट्स अलग से लिखेंगे, राइट, सोशल इफेक्ट अलग लिखेंगे, और एनवायरमेंटल इफेक्ट अलग लिखेंगे. Economic effect, you know that inflation, etc. You can write all of this. What will be the social effect? What is going to be the social effect in that? Yes, higher cost of living will be there, power shortages will be there, reduced quality of life. What will be the environmental effect? Yes, all of this is going to be there. Okay. And now focus on the solutions. The keywords में लिख लीजिए. This is how you have to define the effects. Done. Okay. So shall we discuss all the points in that? Okay. Okay, the first solution that I am giving is develop renewable energy sources such as solar. ये तो बहुत basic है. I think everybody can do this, and India is doing quite well in that. Then energy conservation and efficiency. How many of you have done that? Energy efficiency and conservation. For example, you're talking about the earth hours. You're talking about the conservation in sense that in recent COP, only we have discussed about the life. COP कौन से किसमें डिस्कस हुआ था? COP 26 में डिस्कस हुआ था. Then public transportation system we are promoting. Then what else? COP का ज्यादा से ज्यादा इंक्लूड करिए, बिकॉज COP में सबसे ज्यादा इन सब चीजों पे बात होती है. नेशनल एडेप्टेशन प्लान्स, ठीक है. COP is talking about all of these things because energy is something that it's only, I mean, when you're talking about the renewable sources of energy, with that you are also targeting the climate change reductions, climate change mitigations. So we can talk about all the COPs, major development taken in the UNFCCC COP 21 with respect to this. You can write down about life. You can talk about in the recent COP 30, we have talked about the Belem mission. Belem mission is talking again what all the factors have to be included to reduce it to 1.5. आपको 1.5 डिग्री से कम करना है, ठीक है. Then the Paris Agreement can also be included because वो भी NDC को ही target कर रहा है. Then you are talking about what else? What are the other points that you have written? Okay, the first one that he has given is population optimization is regulation is very important. Optimum population should be there. Correct. Good. That is one important point. Because अगर optimum population होगा, then there will be not so many people dependent upon the resources because energy is limited. People are hugely dependent on the limited resources. So the first point is not everybody is accessible to all the energy that is being given in the world. And first is that when the accessibility is not there, it creates a inequality. Disparities are being created. That is not good. Then this is because of energy. Energy की वजह से क्या disparities being created. So population regulation for the optimum okay, next optimum population. Then political forums and groupings, correct, peaceful resolution of concerns. Then resilient economic supply chain with diversified source and destinations for energy, correct. This is a good point. As I was also talking about this, write down resilient economic supply chain, write down this point. Resilient economic supply chain with diversified source and destination for energy. Next, technological use of frontier tech to make economy more. What is this written? Okay, I'm not able to read this one. Piyush. All right. Efficient. Okay. Efficient. Right. So more or less, you all have written the same point. It's just that you have to add on more. अभी आपके answer में, although the point we have given Piyush is good, but point is मुझे थोड़ा सा आपका current affairs के अंदर मतलब current in sense that whatever you're reading these days, क्या आजकल क्या चल रहा है? What conventions are being taken? What international inventions, international what do you call initiatives has been taken? That has to be also included in that. इसी से ही आपका आंसर क्या बनेगा? It will give a new look to it. Otherwise, same. तो आपका इंट्रोड्यूस करिए ज्यादा से ज्यादा. Talk about the World Economic Forum की reports. ये डेटा आपको क्या बनाएगा और efficient बनाएगा कि जैसा आप आंसर लिख रहे हैं, you have a good sources to back it up, right? You are already using the sources in order to give support to your answer, whatever you are giving. ठीक है. ओके, कंक्लूजन क्या लिखा है आपने? कंक्लूजन इज मस्ट. कंक्लूजन नहीं लिखा है इसका. ओके, राइट डाउन द कंक्लूजन. देन राइट डाउन द एनर्जी क्राइसिस इज अ मेजर चैलेंज दैट इफेक्ट्स देखिए conclusion. The energy crisis is a major challenge that affects economic development and environmental sustainability. Yes, very good point. I remember in which area this sustainable development it is aligning with which sustainable development goal. Can you tell? It is aligning with which sustainable development goal? Whenever there is the inequality in terms of energy is being not provided to all, which particular sustainable development should we should talk about over here? I told you it's very important to go through all the sustainable development goals. What is the goal number 7? Can you write? Affordable and clean energy. Excellent. So you should definitely make use of sustainable development goal. Affordable and clean energy. When it is already written in sustainable development goal, then why are we not giving it? Because goal means what? If this wouldn't have been in the goal itself, मतलब ये important नहीं है, but it is a need. If you are not giving the proper electricity, etc., don't you think you are creating the people backwards over there? Right? Because energy, internet is a need of the hour. जिस एरिया में नेट इंटरनेट नहीं है और जिस एरिया में इंटरनेट है, उनके जो प्रोडक्टिविटी है, the way they are working, all of this will differ extremely. I'll tell you a very interesting case. So, do you understand what is this blockchain mining is? How many of you understand this? How do you understand blockchain? अब नहीं समझ आता blockchain. Okay, what do you understand? Yes, समझ आता है blockchain. So basically, अब मैं blockchain नहीं समझा सकती. I'll tell you the story. आपको context समझ आ जाएगा. ठीक है? तो blockchain mining में क्या होता है? You have to, there's a problem basically, and you have to give a solution for it. अब जब पहला आपका blockchain आया था, which is called, the model is called as Bitcoin. उसके बाद और भी models आए like Ethereum, etc. Solanki. There are many more which has come now. बहुत ही अब तो बहुत ही ज्यादा है. तो पहले में इनमें क्या होता है that you have to find a solution for the problems. ठीक है? और ये solutions का जो problem जो लोग निकालते हैं उनको क्या मिलता है? एक Bitcoin मिलता है basically. They get a Bitcoin. तो एक Bitcoin की value it's too much these days, right? So you'll be very extremely surprised to know that the people who were doing this mining were from which area? Can you guess it? They're belonging from which area? I'll tell you why it is important. Southeast Asia, okay. And were they from the developed countries or developing countries? Not much idea. So they were actually from the tier 2, tier 3 areas of India. With respect to India, I'm talking about first. So they were from the tier 2 and tier 3 areas. So these people who have learned the computing, etc., and because they had the internet access, so the only thing that required was more of investments. Investment in sense, इसके लिए बहुत high processors and computers बहुत ज़्यादा heavy चाहिए होते हैं because it requires lot of energy. ठीक है? So in that case, people were also surprised that, and they were making money out of it. They learned this skill through how they've learned through the nets only because they provided the net. आप imagine अगर उनके पास net नहीं होता तो आपको लगता है कि एनर्जी नहीं होती. एनर्जी कहाँ से है? This is also part of energy. एनर्जी की वजह से ये सब है आपका इंटरनेट एक्सेट्रा. अगर ये सब नहीं होता तो क्या होता? What would have happened? They would have never used all of this. And अब चाइना में तो बात ही अलग है. चाइना में तो the scenario is such that the one who is selling the vegetables, his part-time job is to make semiconductors and to make and do mining. So that is what it is said that you cannot beat China now because in China the plan B option is making some sort of a semiconductor or डूइंग द माइनिंग, वहां पे तो हर घर में, हर दूसरे घर में माइनिंग चल रहा है, ठीक है. सो दिस इज हाउ these people are making the best advantages, best use of the technology which has been provided to them. Now with the data we get surprised. Similar like digital frauds from TV, correct? How many of you have seen Jamtara? जब डिजिटल फ्रॉड्स भी वहां से आ रहे हैं, बिल्कुल सही बात है, करेक्ट पीयूष. So digital frauds coming from tier 2, tier 3, Jamtara and Mewat. So these people are highly, they have this excellent, brilliant. I'm not saying that whatever they are doing is right. Mining is still fine. Mining में कोई problem नहीं है, it's a legal activity. But yes, what they are doing is that the digital, all these breaches they are doing, that is not right. तो ये सब, ये आपको बताता है कि एनर्जी कितनी इसलिए नहीं दी गई है एनर्जी, लेकिन माइनिंग इज गुड थिंग. They are doing it, they are learning it. This is the next technology that everybody would like to know. I mean, the demand of this is quite high and you don't get it very easily. This is one of the brilliant way of making and minting the money. Only for those who know it, who knows that how to build upon it. Okay. So this is a case study which I was studying. I mean, I was going through some reports, so I studied this. कि ऐसा भी होता है. ठीक है. What else? So this is creating, so SDG, what it calls SDG Sustainable Development Goal. 17 goal says what? कि आपको क्या करना है? Sorry, goal number 7 says what? आपको क्या करना है? You need to have affordable and clean energy. Affordable why? अभी क्या चल रहा है? अभी आपको लग रहा है कि सब कुछ affordable है? नहीं. If you have seen the data, lot of people जो आपके daily wages थे, they have gone back to their hometown. Why? Because they cannot afford so much of the rise in the fuel prices and the basic food and other commodities which have taken a huge spike in the prices. They cannot afford that. आपकी हर चीज पे आज there is a rise in the price. Why it has happened? One factor. What is that? Rise in petrol क्यों? Because they will use as a ट्रांसपोर्टेशन मेथड में यूज करेंगे. जब पेट्रोल के प्राइसेस ज्यादा तो आपकी बाकी कमोडिटीज के प्राइसेस ऑटोमेटिकली हाई. So this is how it is giving what a ripple effect also. एक चीज का प्राइस बढ़ा, बाकी चीज का अपने आप बढ़ गया. It is also creating a sort of a ripple effect. So this is what you have to keep in mind कि आपको क्या करना है. What you have to keep in mind? Yes, to conserve it and also to look out for the other cleaner methods, cleaner fuels. ठीक है. जैसे अभी आपको biogas is one of the cleaner fuel, but in a lot of forums and stages it has been talked about that methane should not be, even from methane from the organic matter should be stopped. That is what we talk about, global methane pledge. Global methane pledge किसमें आया था? In the COP only, recent COPs only, wherein India has not signed it. Why? Because India does use the biogas coming out of the organic matters. And global methane pledge talks about that you have to stop it even from the organic matter. अब organic matter से भी जो biogas आ रहा है उसको stop करेंगे. Because methane in itself is a greenhouse gas. ठीक है. Although it is considered, the biogas is considered quite safer, but then it is not totally rid of the greenhouse gas emissions. Right? It do has the percentage. Yes, shortages of fertilizer. That is also true. Yes, tell me more. Okay. So where was I? I was telling you about the crisis, right? Energy crisis. We have already talked about. Okay. Now one question. Write down the question on the world resources and their distribution. Write down. और ये वर्ल्ड रिसोर्स एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का पार्ट हम पहले भी कर चुके हैं. We have already done this part in oil, petrol, etc. I've already discussed this. कहाँ discuss किया था? If you remember, we have discussed in the oceanography class. Do you remember this? I have discussed in quite detail where how oil is creating a pollution, how oil is being used, how much, which country is using it at the maximum rate. All of this has been done with which countries the highest consumption or doing the highest consumption of the oil. So all of this has been done and discussed in detail already in the oceanography class. But what you have to do is you have to make sure that आप distribution भी लिखिए इसका. ठीक है, अब आपको डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन पे फोकस करना है. सो राइट डाउन वर्ल्ड रिसोर्सेज एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. कौन कौन से वर्ल्ड रिसोर्सेज लिखने हैं? राइट डाउन अबाउट ऑयल, crude oil and petroleum. Write down about coal because there was a question on coal also. इस पे क्वेश्चन आएंगे आपके. और ऐसा भी होता है कि रीजन वाइज आए, बिकॉज वेनेजुला पे क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी 2013 में आया था. इट्स फेमस फॉर ऑयल एंड वहां पे क्वेश्चन आया था, डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन था. इसी तरह से बाकी पे भी क्वेश्चन दे कैन इजीली आस्क. What else? You can write about the world distribution of now. I'll tell you the most important one. Okay, write down about natural gas also. Okay. Then next, write down metallic minerals. Metallic minerals. That's it. You can continue with your questions now. Okay, he's saying that battery storage we lack to make full use of solar, and yes, batteries. Actually, we are quite dependent on the semiconductors. We import all of these things and then we try to make it. So fully, we are not independent of all of these things. The moment we'll try to manufacture the semiconductor, it would be of great help to us. And people are recognizing, even the government recognizes that. But the point here is you would take some, take some time. A lot of investment is required in that manufacturing setup. Yes, there's a huge cost attached to it for the investment. Okay, please go through your syllabus. Huh? He just started off. We have just, so there was a, we were in talk with we have done this particular deal with America when Joe Biden was a president. At that point of time, we have done that deal. I don't know if we are continuing that deal also or not. I think in 2022 we had a deal with them, with Joe Biden, and we discussed about the semiconductors developments, everything. And there's a mission. I think it's a full name is Semiconductor Development Mission, something like that. I'll tell you the name only. Wait. Yes, one was a Chips and Science Act, and I mean this was started by United States. Basically, they have passed this Chips and Science Act at that point of time. It is ICET, Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology. IECET, Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology, launched in 2022. It was basically for chip manufacturing, etc. So they will share the technology with us, how they are doing all of these things. So I don't know whether, because the Trump is there, so I don't know if whether that services are still there or they are working on that initiative or not. So that is something we need to figure it out. But yes, there was initiative taken. All right, if you have any doubt, just let me know. Just type it. All right, thank you so much, class.